15 unreachable places you won't believe exist on Earth. Have you ever imagined places so remote, so mysterious, that reaching them feels almost impossible? Hidden across our planet are destinations untouched by modern life. Places where nature rules with full power, where mystery and danger go hand in hand. From frozen deserts to volcanic islands, from forbidden tribes to unscalable mountains. Today, we'll take you on a journey to explore the 15 most unreachable places you won't believe exist on Earth. So, fasten your seatbelts because this is going to be a trip beyond imagination. Tristan da Cunha, the world's most remote inhabited island. Deep in the South Atlantic Ocean lies Tristan da Cunha, often called the loneliest island in the world. Imagine living in a place where the nearest continent, Africa, is over 2,400 kilometers away, and even the closest inhabited land, St. Helena, is 2,100 kilometers distant. That means if you live here, your neighbors are not towns or cities, but the endless stretch of ocean. The island is volcanic in origin, with towering cliffs and a rugged coastline that makes landing here an adventure in itself. There are no airports, no runways, no quick flights. The only way to reach Tristan da Cunha is by a long, 7-day boat journey from South Africa. Ships visit only a few times a year, carrying essential supplies, and occasionally tourists brave enough to make the trip. Surprisingly, around 250 people actually live here. The community is small, but incredibly resilient. They grow potatoes in something called the Patches Fields, raise livestock, and rely heavily on fishing. Life is simple but tough. The islanders share everything, and everyone knows each other by name. One of the most fascinating things about Tristan da Cunha is its isolation from global diseases. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck the entire world, the people here remained safe due to their natural separation from the rest of humanity. But isolation also comes with challenges. If someone needs serious medical attention, it can take days or even weeks to get help. For travelers, visiting Tristan da Cunha is like stepping into another world. Imagine standing on its volcanic slopes, looking out over the vast South Atlantic, knowing there is nothing but water for thousands of kilometers in every direction. Few places make you feel so small, yet so connected to the raw power of nature. This island is not just remote. It's a reminder of how humans can survive in the harshest, most isolated corners of the planet. Bouvet, Mount Roraima, Venezuela, Brazil, Guyana. In the dense rainforests of South America, where 3 countries meet, Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana, rises a colossal natural fortress, Mount Roraima. Imagine a giant stone table lifted straight out of the earth, with sheer vertical cliffs on all sides and a flat plateau stretching across the top. This is not just a mountain. It's one of the oldest geological formations on Earth, believed to be nearly 2 billion years old. Mount Roraima towers more than 9,000 feet, 2,810 meters, above sea level, and what makes it extraordinary is its unique tabletop shape, known as a tepui. Its cliffs rise almost vertically, making it look completely inaccessible from below. For centuries, local indigenous tribes like the Pemon considered it sacred, calling it the House of the Gods. Legends tell of spirits and lost worlds hiding atop its plateau. For European explorers, Mount Roraima was long a source of fascination and mystery. The sheer cliffs made it seem impossible to climb, and it remained unexplored until 1884, when British explorer Sir Everard Thurn finally found a way to the summit. His reports of strange plants and landscapes inspired Sir Arthur Conan Doyle to write his famous novel, The Lost World, imagining dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures surviving atop the mountain. Even today, reaching Mount Roraima is no easy feat. The journey requires days of trekking through jungles, swamps, and rivers. The climb to the plateau is long and exhausting, but once at the top, visitors are rewarded with one of the most otherworldly landscapes on Earth. The summit of Mount Roraima feels like stepping into a completely different planet. Strange rock formations, shaped by millions of years of erosion, rise like sculptures. Rare plants, such as carnivorous species that trap insects, grow in shallow pools of rainwater. Easter Island, Rapa Nui, Chile. Far out in the Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from the nearest continent, lies Easter Island, known to its native people as Rapa Nui. This small volcanic island is one of the most remote inhabited places on Earth, and it holds one of history's greatest mysteries, the Moai statues. These colossal stone figures, some weighing more than 80 tons, were carved centuries ago by the island's Polynesian settlers. Their oversized heads and solemn expressions gaze silently across the land, creating an atmosphere of both awe and mystery. For hundreds of years, people have wondered, how did such a small, isolated community create and move these giant statues without advanced technology? Easter Island was first settled around the 12th century by Polynesians who sailed across the vast Pacific in wooden canoes. Cut off from the rest of the world, they developed their own culture, language, and traditions. The Moai statues were built to honor ancestors and chiefs, and they were carefully positioned to watch over the villages. Moving them across the island, however, remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. Some theories suggest they used ropes to walk the statues upright, swaying them side to side. Despite its beauty and cultural richness, Easter Island has also faced tragedy. Centuries of deforestation, overpopulation, and resource struggles led to societal collapse. Today, the remaining Moai serve as silent reminders of both human creativity and the fragility of civilization. Reaching Easter Island is no simple journey. The island lies more than 2,000 miles from Chile, its nearest continental neighbor. Flights are limited, and the isolation is immediately felt upon arrival. Surrounded by endless ocean, visitors realize just how far from the modern world they truly are. Yet Easter Island is more than its statues. Its volcanic craters, green hills, and rugged coastline create breathtaking landscapes. The culture of the Rapa Nui people still thrives, with festivals, dances, and traditions passed down through generations. Standing before the Moai at sunset, with the Pacific waves crashing in the background, feels like stepping into another time. The silence of the statues is haunting, yet powerful, reminding us of humanity's deep connection to ancestors, land, and spirit. Easter Island remains one of Earth's most unreachable and extraordinary places, a land of mystery, beauty, and resilience, holding secrets that may never be fully uncovered. Oymyakon, Siberia, Russia. Deep in the frozen wilderness of Siberia lies Oymyakon, a place so cold it feels like the edge of human survival. Known as the coldest permanently inhabited settlement on Earth, this tiny village sits in the Sakha Republic of Russia, where winter dominates most of the year. Temperatures here regularly drop below -50 degrees Celsius, -58 degrees Fahrenheit, and the record low reached an unimaginable -67.7 degrees Celsius, -90 degrees Fahrenheit. That makes Oymyakon colder than the surface of Mars on some days. Even the word Oymyakon means the water that doesn't freeze, named after a nearby hot spring. But everywhere else in the village, life is locked in ice. Reaching Oymyakon is a challenge in itself. There are no major airports nearby. Travelers must take a long, grueling journey across icy roads, often in vehicles specially prepared to withstand the extreme cold. Engines must run continuously because if they're turned off, they might freeze solid and never start again. Daily life in Oymyakon is unlike anywhere else. Water pipes are buried deep underground or carried by truck because plumbing would freeze instantly. Cars are left running outside for hours. Schools only close when the temperature drops below -55 degrees Celsius, -67 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything warmer is considered normal. Despite the brutal climate, about 500 people call Oymyakon home. They have adapted to survive in ways that seem almost unbelievable. Traditional diets rely heavily on meat, especially reindeer and fish, because farming is impossible in the permafrost. Vegetables are scarce, and greenhouses are a rare luxury. Yet, in this frozen village, there is also beauty. The air is so clear that the night sky reveals endless stars, and during winter, the aurora borealis often paints the sky with glowing ribbons of light. For the people of Oymyakon, this harsh world is not a punishment, but a way of life, passed down through generations. Visitors who dare to come here experience what few ever do, standing in a place where the air burns your lungs. La Rinconada, Peru. High in the Peruvian Andes, nearly 17,000 feet, 5,100 meters, above sea level, lies La Rinconada, the highest permanent human settlement on Earth. Perched among glaciers and snow-capped peaks, this mining town is a place of extremes, where survival is as difficult as the altitude itself. The journey to La Rinconada is not for the faint of heart. Roads are steep, winding, and often dangerous, climbing higher and higher in a thin air where breathing becomes difficult. The lack of oxygen at such altitude means constant headaches, dizziness, and exhaustion for newcomers. Yet, more than 30,000 people have chosen to make this place their home. Why? The answer lies in gold. La Rinconada sits next to one of the richest gold mines in the Andes. For decades, people from across Peru and beyond have flocked here, lured by the hope of fortune. The city has grown chaotically, with makeshift houses built from wood and metal clinging to the mountainside. There is no plumbing, no reliable sewage system, and electricity is inconsistent. Life here is incredibly tough. The freezing temperatures, combined with thin air, make daily survival a challenge. Food must be carried up from lower towns, and a lack of clean water creates health problems. Despite the harshness, families remain, driven by dreams of striking it rich in the mines. The mining system itself is unusual. Workers often dig under a palaquio arrangement, meaning they work for free most of the month. But for one day, they're allowed to keep whatever gold they find. It's a gamble that keeps hope alive, but rarely delivers prosperity. Yet even in such extreme conditions, La Rinconada pulses with human life. Streets are crowded, markets buzz with traders, and children play among the icy alleys. The community has built schools, churches, and shops despite the odds. The backdrop of towering mountains gives the city an almost surreal look, as if it were clinging to the edge of the world. Surtsey Island, Iceland. Off the southern coast of Iceland lies Surtsey, one of the youngest islands in the world. It was born not millions of years ago, but in 1963, when a massive volcanic eruption under the sea lasted for nearly 4 years, pushing fiery rock above the waves and creating a brand new island. At its peak, the eruption spewed ash and lava so dramatically that plumes were visible from the mainland. Fishermen watched as the earth itself gave birth to new land. When the eruption finally ended in 1967, an island of about 2.7 square kilometers stood where there had once been only open sea. Scientists named it Surtsey after Surtur, a fire giant from Norse mythology. But what makes Surtsey so extraordinary is not just its dramatic birth. It's what has happened since. The Icelandic government and international scientists declared the island off-limits to the public. Only researchers are allowed to set foot there, and even they must follow strict rules. No seeds, no food scraps, no foreign microbes. Why? Because Surtsey is one of the most important natural laboratories in the world. Here, scientists study how life begins on new land. From barren rock, Surtsey has slowly transformed into a living ecosystem. The first plants arrived via wind and ocean currents. Seabirds soon nested there, bringing nutrients that allowed moss, lichens, and grasses to spread. Over decades, insects, worms, and even small animals found their way to the island. Today, Surtsey is a thriving habitat, but still fragile and closely monitored. Every species that appears is carefully recorded, offering a rare chance to watch evolution and ecological succession in real time. It's a glimpse into how Earth's landscapes might have formed long before humans existed. What makes Surtsey unreachable is its strict protection. Tourists cannot visit. Boats must stay at a distance. Ittoqqortoormiit, Greenland. In the icy wilderness of eastern Greenland lies Ittoqqortoormiit, one of the most isolated towns on Earth. The name may be difficult to pronounce, but it roughly means big house dwellers in Greenlandic. This tiny settlement of just a few hundred people is surrounded by glaciers, frozen fjords, and Arctic tundra as far as the eye can see. Getting here is an adventure in itself. There are no roads that connect Ittoqqortoormiit to the outside world. The only way in is by a small helicopter, a ship that visits a few times during the short summer, or a long and dangerous dog sled journey across the ice. For most of the year, the sea around the town is completely frozen, cutting it off from modern trade routes. Despite the extreme isolation, people here have built a resilient life. The locals are mostly Inuit, relying on traditional hunting and fishing for survival. Polar bears, seals, musk oxen, and Arctic foxes roam the wilderness around the town. In fact, Ittoqqortoormiit sits near the entrance of the world's largest fjord system, Scoresby Sund, which is both breathtaking and unforgiving. Life here is not easy. The long Arctic winters mean months of near-total darkness, with temperatures often dropping below -20 degrees Celsius. Supplies like food, fuel, and medicine must be carefully stored and rationed, as fresh deliveries are rare. Yet, despite these hardships, the people of Ittoqqortoormiit maintain their traditions, culture, and a deep connection to the land. What makes this place so extraordinary is the combination of beauty and remoteness. Tourists who dare to visit are rewarded with sights few will ever see. Towering icebergs, northern lights dancing across the sky, and landscapes untouched by time. But reaching Ittoqqortoormiit is not for the faint-hearted, making it one of the most unreachable inhabited places on Earth. Pitcairn Islands, Pacific Ocean. Far away in the vast Pacific Ocean lies one of the most remote communities on Earth, the Pitcairn Islands. This tiny British overseas territory is made up of 4 islands, but only one of them, Pitcairn Island, is inhabited. And the entire population? Fewer than 50 people. The history of Pitcairn is just as unusual as its location. In 1789, the infamous mutiny on the HMS Bounty took place. The mutineers, led by Fletcher Christian, fled with their ship and eventually settled on Pitcairn Island along with a group of Polynesians. Isolated from the rest of the world, their descendants still live here more than 200 years later. Reaching the Pitcairn Islands is no simple journey. There are no airports, no regular ferry services. The only way in is to fly to Tahiti or New Zealand, then travel thousands of kilometers by ship. Even then, ships can only stop if the sea is calm enough for small boats to reach the shore. Because of this, only a handful of visitors ever make it each year. Life on Pitcairn is simple and quiet. With no big cities, no supermarkets, and almost no modern infrastructure, residents rely on farming, fishing, and small-scale trade. Internet and electricity are limited, and supplies are delivered just a few times a year. Yet, despite these challenges, Pitcairn offers a unique charm, lush landscapes, dramatic cliffs, and a way of life that has almost disappeared from the modern world. Today, the island is facing a strange problem. Its population is shrinking. With so few people left, the government has even invited outsiders to come live there, offering land and a chance to join their community. But very few are willing to trade the comforts of modern life for such isolation. Visiting Pitcairn is like stepping into a time capsule. It is one of the world's most unreachable inhabited places, holding on to a history and way of life that is unlike anywhere else on Earth. Gangkhar Puensum, Bhutan. In the heart of the Himalayas lies Gangkhar Puensum, the world's highest unclimbed mountain. Standing at 7,570 meters, 24,836 feet, This majestic peak straddles the border between Bhutan and Tibet. But unlike other towering mountains that attract climbers from across the globe, Gangkhar Puensum remains untouched, and it's likely to stay that way. The reason is not just its incredible height or difficult terrain. In Bhutan, mountains are considered sacred places, believed to be the homes of gods and spirits. Out of respect for these beliefs, the Bhutanese government banned mountaineering on all peaks over 6,000 meters in 1994. Since then, climbing Gangkhar Puensum has been strictly forbidden. Before the ban, several attempts were made to reach the summit, but all failed. Harsh weather, steep ridges, and the sheer remoteness of the mountain made it nearly impossible to conquer. Some say this only adds to its mystery and spiritual aura, as if nature itself has protected the mountain from human footsteps. For locals, Gangkhar Puensum is not just a mountain, it is a sacred guardian. The name itself means White Peak of the Three Spiritual Brothers, symbolizing its importance in Bhutanese culture. To this day, no one has stood on its summit, making it a rare, untouched wonder in a world where nearly every mountain has been climbed. Reaching even the base of the mountain is a challenge. There are no direct roads, and travelers must trek through remote valleys, forests, and high passes just to glimpse its snowy crown. For adventurers, simply seeing Gangkhar Puensum from afar is considered a privilege. It remains the last great unclimbed peak on Earth, a place where nature and spirituality combine to create one of the most unreachable wonders in the world.